What it is that MSU did a lot of research, and they came up with a framework that they called Birth to Work. And in that framework, they said that, you know, human beings need support from the time they're born until the time they're in a career. And of course, they need help beyond that as well. But the adolescent period and these critical transition periods really deserve special attention if we want to help our community. So they've got about 10, 12 years now that this has been evolving, and Ingham County is really on the ground. MSU offered, if we'd like to try to do something like that over here, that they would help us, which is a pretty big offer. They've met with us several times, and we asked, would it be appropriate to frame this as a Latino Birth to Work project? Because our Latino community has needs, the highest dropout rate. We have to get the kids through school. We have a language barrier. Is it appropriate to form a Birth to Work group that concentrates on Latino needs? And they thought so. And Juan has been instrumental in recruiting partners for that. And so there are several partners now in the Birth to Work program. I put this little statement here. It says, the global knowledge economy environment of Birth to Work. Many economists today are saying that we are living in a new economy. The old economy is gone, the production economy, where you became wealthy because you made things. Now it's about knowledge. It's about services. The economy has changed completely. And we have to, if we want our communities to change, we have to recognize that. And there's a framework slide here that it explains that. By the way, it was the assistant provost for university outreach, who's a psychologist who'd run the psychology department to try to do this. And they identified the key transitions that all people go through, basically, from your prenatal. You have a major transition at early childhood, when you enter school, basically. And then there's an early adolescent transition that is critical. And then there's the late adolescent transition that is critical. And that you can identify certain needs of individuals at each of these stages. And if individuals don't get the help that they need, they run a great risk of not reaching their potential, their goals, their happiness, to have a good life and a good community. So with that recognition, then you ask, as a community, how do we go about providing this framework? And the last slide on this, you can read this when you're at home, but it shows that you have the nonprofit sector, governmental sector, businesses, health systems, and faith-based groups can all work together to bear on a problem. But we tend to lack that framework. As the groups speak here tonight, everyone's doing good work. I'm impressed. How do we now communicate, coordinate, and leverage each other's assets? Okay? So how can a really great elementary school experience tie to a great middle school experience? Who can help? Do we have mentors who can step in and help? Do we have an after-school program that can bring in media? If we could communicate, that's the first thing, is to know about each other. The second thing is to be able to see that there are benefits in cooperation. And then if we have a vehicle, we can communicate, cooperate, and get something done. The big problem is the vehicle has been lacking. How do we communicate and cooperate? This is a great start, but how do we move forward? Well, Birth to Work is one potential vehicle that we didn't invent. We're not reinventing the wheel. MSU helped us, and they've offered the support of the institution, which is really big, to help us. For instance, we can call on the Julian Zamora Research Institute to say, gosh, we really want to know about this stuff. Do you have any research there? Can you help us there? We can call on College of Education, okay? And so it's a great conduit and pretty generous of MSU to work with us on this. By the way, I'm not representing anyone. I do work for MSU, but this is kind of a group that has just come about, and MSU won't lead us. They will simply help us, but it has to be directed by you. And so how we go forward, we'll see. But this is amazing to me that you guys can do this now. So thank you.
One of my roles, besides being part of IME, is also being part of the Latino Summit Development Group in at Lansing level. At the end of September, we had our local conference or summit that we decided the 7 points that we want to work on, and like everybody said, education's top. As we developed this state group, it now has an official name. It's called Mi Alma, and anybody that's interested, by the way, we have some sign-up sheets, and if people want to help in projects, please, Pat over there is signing people up. And we can also send you information on our bylaws for Mi Alma. Mi Alma has been referred to us as a partnership of communities in the state of Michigan targeting, I lost my glasses here, but it says the coordinating of Latino organizations in the state to use those resources to help each other across the state and present things like to state government and other agencies. So we have an opportunity to partner up with them and create a local entity. And while I'm connected, I'm leaving it up to this group to form a core group to continue that work. I can send you the bylaws of the organization if you want to sign up with Pat. Another program that we can send you is an actual summary report of the state summit. Now, while it's not completed, it's still in process, I have most of the information, and we can email that booklet to you. And so again, what I'm saying in conclusion to Mi Alma, it's up to our community. I don't want to say it's my group. I want to say it's our group and create a core group of people to develop that.
Good evening. My name is Juan Vasquez, all the way from Austin, Texas. And I grew up in the migrant fields from babyhood, literally, to my senior year in college. When I was in elementary school, our school used to offer 2 scholarships to a prep school in Austin. And so I was interested, and time passed, and then, of course, I told my parents because I was excited, and I thought I was going to get one of the scholarships. So time passed, and nothing was announced. And finally, I asked one of the teachers what had happened to the scholarships. And she said, well, no, Juan, we already awarded them, and you were not one of the 2. But you should be happy because you're the first in your family to finish the 8th grade, and you can read and write. And now you can buy your own truck and take crews up north to do migrant work. Well, that is not what I wanted to hear. And there was a problem from her first statement. One, how was I going to get the truck? I was broke every year. We would do migrant work, and we never had enough money to buy trucks to come up north. So that was one problem. The other one was, what was I going to tell my father? Because he wanted to know. Well, Juan, ¿qué pasó? What happened to the scholarships? And unlike George Washington, I told a lie. I told him, Dad, guess what happened? Este año, nobody got it. Because if I hadn't gotten it, he was gonna whip me. My dad was illiterate. My mother was illiterate. She self-taught herself to read and write. But my father never did. But he knew one thing, that the way for me not to grow up like him, to work like a burro, as he said, in the camps, was to get an education. So this young man who was turned down from this high school prep school through the scholarship is currently, right now, a PhD student at Michigan State University, 2nd year. Now, thank you. I didn't mention it for that. But I mentioned it for this reason. There are 2 promises in Kalamazoo. One is la feria, the money. The other one is you. You are the second promise for Kalamazoo, as I see it. If I had had the help that is in this room when I was a little kid, I probably would have gone to Harvard. And I tell you that very seriously, because I was smart. But I didn't have a chance to go to school because we would leave in April and we wouldn't come back till fall, October, and on the rebound back to Texas, we would stop to pick cotton in Abilene, Texas. And it was cold. And the pay was dismal. On the rebound. So when would we get home? I want to go to school, which wasn't true. We just wanted to get to Austin. So my point is this. The connections that you're talking about forming here are very impressive. I am very impressed. But I want to tell you this. Each one of you, individually, is a connection to every young boy and every young girl that you're going to be facing and confronting at schools, in the hallways, out in the street. You need to show a positive face. You need to be smiling. You need to be encouraging. You need to be telling these kids, you know why? It's important that you go to school and talk to them about the importance of learning. People ask me, why did you come from Austin, the University of Texas is there, to Michigan State for your PhD? Because Michigan State is a very special place. It's one of the few universities that I know that has a motto that inspired me, and it is this: increase knowledge and transform lives. The transforming of lives takes place when you learn. And I tell kids when I talk to them in the high schools and the middle schools and the elementary schools, you ever see these cartoons where somebody's trying to figure out a problem and then boom, the light bulb, it flashes. They get it. And then I tell the kids, what happens next? I don't know. Text, let me see the text. No, not really. They smile. The characters on the screen smile. And they're happy. And they're enthusiastic. Why? Because they get it. And then they go and do it. So it's about learning. Encourage the kids to love learning. I was telling, oh, there you are. Earlier, oh, I would have loved to have had this library in my school when I was a little boy. I would have loved to have had a book. So if you can work through the wonderful efforts that you're undertaking to get simple books to kids somehow, some way, through the promise of Kalamazoo or through your promise as individuals and as different groups, do it. I am a second-year student. I'm struggling, having a hard time because it's a tough program, studying for a PhD. I used to think PhD, nothing. It is a lot. It is a lot. Hopefully, by the end of this year, I'll be done with my coursework and my comprehensives, and then I start writing my dissertation in the spring. But I really want to thank you for what you're doing. I want to encourage you, and you're an inspiration to me to continue to make sure that I finish my PhD.